Welcome to the Dirt Broadcast, digging to the bottom of every situation to get to the truth. Here's your host, Jason Mills.
Hello, folks. How's everybody today? Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining me on the Dirt Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Mills. We appreciate you joining us every Tuesday night. Sorry for being absent last week. I was a little under the weather, and I know a lot of folks out there are sick with the flu and respiratory illnesses and all this other stuff. So I understand. It's no fun. We're just going to give it just a couple minutes here to be able to have some folks join us today and all those kinds of good things. Don't have a whole lot to talk about tonight, but you never know. I might get heated about what I am going to talk about. So you never know. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Thank you for joining me once again. On the Dirt Podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Remember to like, share, comment, and ask any questions you got as we go along, or make any comments you want to, and all those kinds of good things. We appreciate it. This is an interactive podcast, so feel free to join in and all those kinds of things. I won't mind. Kind of helps things be more interesting and that kind of thing, other than just me talking and all that kind of stuff, because I will answer your questions the best I can and all that good stuff. But anyways, remember this coming Monday, the 24th, I believe it is the next county commission meeting. So be there, be square. Get on down there and find out what's going on in your local government and what kind of things they're planning to do, are doing, where your taxes are going, and a bunch of more nonsense. Good information. Get on down there and find it out. I know the second abolishment of the constables vote is supposed to happen. So if you've got an opinion on that, feel free to go down there, sign up for public comments, and make your comment heard. And whether you're, you supporting them or not supporting them, you can make your voice heard either way. It's the only way that, they're going to know what you actually think, unless you've called or emailed or done any of that other good stuff. So remember that Monday, this coming Monday, county commission meeting. Very important. Folks, show up and, do your part. Let them know what you're thinking, and, you get 4 minutes to speak, I believe, if you sign up for public comments and that kind of thing. So again, remember, me and my family, as we're still getting better. We all been under the weather. I know a lot of y'all been under the weather with flu and all this stuff. Hopefully you're prepared for the snow that's coming, supposedly, in the next day or so. And everybody's ran out and got their milk and bread and got their gas tanks full and all those kinds of good things. So, if not, run out after the podcast to get that stuff taken care of. But don't leave the podcast, obviously. Anyways, remember to like, share, comment. Once again, we appreciate it. Feel free to share me out during the week or whatever. I still like to grow the audience there. I know I'm not as big as, some of those other podcast folks out there, and I'm not as big as I was with the coalition and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get there slowly, and little bit by little bit. That's all I care about, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing and keep getting the word out, and we'll keep everybody up to date with what's going on. So yeah. You can follow me on Facebook and YouTube under the Dirt Podcast. And you can also follow me on Rumble under the Dirt Podcast UC, which obviously is Union County. But either one of those, we may grow to more different things later. But right now, I'm just going to stick with those three. The Dirt Podcast on Facebook and YouTube, and the Dirt Podcast UC on Rumble. So remember that. We greatly appreciate it. And so let's jump right in. I know there's several out there watching me on different ways. Again, I remind you of one more time, Facebook or YouTube is the Dirt Podcast. Rumble is the Dirt Podcast UC. So follow me on any of those or all of those. I'd greatly appreciate it. And like I said, we just continue to grow with the podcast, and I can't grow without y'all's help. So share me out, like and share and comment and do all those kinds of things. That just helps the algorithm get me out there more, and all those kinds of good things. And one more reminder, County Commission meeting this coming Monday. Be there. Make your voices heard. Find out what's going on in local politics. And this will also be the second vote to abolish the constable. So if you've got an opinion on that one way or the other, make sure you're there. Make sure you're getting your voice heard. And if you can't make it to the meeting, make sure you're reaching out to your county commissioners, email, phone, whatever, and let them know what you think. Nothing wrong with that. And like I said, whichever way your opinion is, I'm not going to argue with you about it or whatever. Everybody's got an opinion. Some people love the constables. Some people like the constables, and some people want the constables to go away. So everybody should know by now what my position is and has been, and that kind of thing. But we're going to talk about that here a little bit later. Because there's some things I'm not happy with that's been going on, and that kind of thing. So we'll get there in just a few minutes. How many of y'all have watched or do watch the TV show On Patrol Live? Used to be called Live PD, all those kinds of things. How many of y'all watched that this past Friday night? You can write in comment there if you want or not, doesn't matter. But how many of y'all watched the part where the Knox County officer right there on Maryville Highway, kind of in front of Malibu Collision there, watched that little interaction with the Knox County deputies, and the person wanted it out of Union County? I thought that was a very interesting little interaction between the deputies. And you could tell that the Knox County deputies, at least one of them, did not have a very highly favorable opinion on Union County at all. Just by the way he was talking and trying to talk to the person that was wanted and that kind of thing. Not knocking any of the Knox County deputies or anything like that, but they couldn't understand. If you go back and watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this guy had like 27 warrants out of Union County, and the Knox County deputies were having a hard time trying to figure out what was going on, and they were trying to get information from Union County Dispatch. And apparently Union County Dispatch was telling them they had to call the jail to confirm and just a bunch of things. And so they also talked about they were hoping that Union County would meet them, at the county line there, so they could transfer the wanted person from Knox County's custody to Union County's custody. And that's how they do it. They normally go to the county line between the two counties, whether it's Blount County or Union County or any other county. That arresting county will normally meet the other county at the county line and kind of swap over. Otherwise, the young man was going to go to Knox County and had to be held in Knox County till Union County decided to go get him. I'm not entirely sure if Union County met him or didn't meet him, but just that interaction there on a nationally televised TV show, folks, and that's the biggest point. The national televised TV show made Union County. The TV show didn't make Union County. Union County makes Union County look completely stupid. The Knox County deputies couldn't get information that they were trying to get, and it was just an interaction that it seemed like somebody didn't know what they were doing. I'm not saying they didn't, but it just seemed that way. So in that circumstance, it's kind of shameful on Union County side to look that way in front of the whole country, the whole world, depending on, how far that show reaches. And when you're in a position as a deputy where things could be life or death, and you're counting on your support, your dispatch and all these other things to be able to give you information as quickly as possible. And then you got your dispatch telling, or Union County Dispatch telling Knox County Dispatch that, hey, y'all going to have to call the jail. We don't know anything. You're going to have to just call the jail and verify those warrants and all this kind of stuff. And it just, on a law enforcement standpoint, that could be very dangerous. It could be, what if that person was known to carry weapons? What if that person was known, what if that person was wanted for murder? You never know what's going on with a person. You're going up to the car blind as an officer, and you're trying to get as much information as possible, as quickly as possible, so kind of what to do, so how to handle a situation. And they just, you can tell that the Knox County deputies there were kind of bumfuzzled on what was going on, and just a side level conversation you can kind of hear and that kind of thing. In Union County, my opinion, feel free to make it yours. In Union County government is ass backwards. They do things backwards. They just make things harder on themselves. And then you can go as far as liability. How much liability could that have caused if that person was a really, really bad guy and decided to, do something worse? And then, just by the delay in trying to get the information, and then Union County Dispatch telling the officers or Knox County Dispatch that they were going to have to call the jail and Union County themselves to find out the information. It's just crazy to me that you'd have to go through all that to do your job, especially that kind of job. And like I said, it's a liability on Union County's part, because what if Knox County, this guy was wanted, and maybe wanted for, I don't know what he was wanted for. I've looked him up and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not getting into that. But what if this person was a different person? What if this person was a serial killer and, hurt lots of people, and Knox County was trying to get information, couldn't get information, and had to go through a whole mess, and finally just gave up and let this person go? Well, that would have been partly on Knox County's fault, but it'd been a lot on Union County's fault, because Union County wasn't prepared to give the information out. And what information they did give out, they couldn't verify. They had Knox County call Union County Jail to verify. And that's a safety issue to me. That's a liability issue to me. There's a whole lot of things wrong with that situation. But like I said, it's a nationwide TV show. Nationwide made Union County look like fools. And like Union County had no clue what they were doing. And it's just shameful to me, like I said, that Union County would be put in the spotlight in that form, that fashion, and something that serious. Union County is known for a lot of things, and most of the things that Union County is known for is things we get laughed at for. We had this on national TV. We've had, the whole thing with the sheriff being on probation and all that stuff. And, we get laughed at all the time. And you go out and you tell people, hey, I'm from Union County. I live in Union County. And they're like, oh, it's Union County. And, and it shouldn't be that way. There's a lot of good people in Union County, work for Union County, work in Union County, that have businesses in Union County. And, and then we get into a situation like this where, we're on nationwide TV and made to look like jackasses. So that's my opinion on that. Hopefully you watched the show. Like I said, it was on this past Friday night. You can watch it I watch it on Peacock. So, you can watch it on Peacock if you have Peacock. I'm sure it might be on some other stuff, but that's where I watch it at. So feel free to go watch that episode if you want, if you haven't already. I don't get paid for any of those, so those were just shameless plugs and that kind of thing. But that's all I'm going to say about that. So here's my other thought I wanted to get through this evening on the podcast. I've been trying to keep the podcast kind of shorter than I used to go. Sometimes they might be longer. Sometimes they might be really short. Who knows? It just depends. But here's my other thought for the evening. And like I said, the second abolishment vote for county commission for the constables is coming up this coming Monday. So again, try to go to the county commission, a meeting Monday. I know there's some folks planning protests and all those kinds of things. So if you want to partake in all that, feel free to do that. It's everybody's right. But again, that's coming up Monday night. On a side note, because I need another drink, because I'm still a little drainagey from being sick last week. But y'all tried this new Dr. Pepper Blackberry. Again, another shameless plug. I think it is delicious, and it's my new favorite. So, anyways, just so I take a drink. And I don't normally like blackberry things, so just weird. Anyways, so we get to this other point. And it's about constables. And like I said, everybody knows what my position is on the constables, right? So we don't have to go through all that. I've made it clear many, many times. I fought for them. I've done speeches, been on the news, all those things. Everybody knows that has been following me for however long I've been doing these things. what my positions are on the constables. Okay. So like I said, I'm not going to go through all that, but here's my complaint, right? So after county commission voted in January to abolish the constables, I thought, and I've got the agenda still laying right here. They went to an executive session, and then they kicked everybody out from the executive session, and no media could be in there, no people could be in there other than county commission, the mayor, and the mayor asked Candy Booker, the election administrator, to stay in there too. And I'm assuming David Myers was in there as well as the county attorney. So they had this executive session and they discussed who knows what. I'm assuming it was the constables, but our possible litigation, which again has not happened as far as I know. Last I checked, it was still something they were talking about. And to me, my opinion could be just that, an opinion. The attorney was just trying to put a scare tactic and trying to get a settlement real quick, and that kind of thing. But last I checked, there still was no lawsuit actually made. So county commission just jumped the gun on the threat of a lawsuit and a liability, which is what they like to say. And took the opportunity, right? Because there's some commissioners that want rid of the constables, has wanted rid of the constables for years now, and just found the opportunity and decided to strike that. But apparently, just a little side note, you want to talk about liability. Well, where's the liability for the $60,000 that just suddenly come missing? Where's the liability for all these other things that go on in the county? Where's the liability for all these fires that keep happening in the jail? Where's the liability for all this other stuff that continues to happen in Union County? But just like I said, just like on the live PD show, Union County is made to look like idiots because our county government, in my opinion, doesn't care. They want to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it. The missing money keeps happening. The overpayment of the school system getting extra money, all that kept happening. Nobody found that for years and years. And so it just doesn't make any sense to me how Union County likes to pick and choose what is too much liability. So we get in this predicament where, okay, well, the constables might get sued, right? They might. But then we get 3 or 4 lawsuits against the sheriff's department or the jail or all these other places. Well, that's not a liability. We ain't got to worry about that. And I understand we need the sheriff's department. I understand we need the jail. I understand all that. Not talking anything about that. I just don't get it. How do we pick and choose what we're going to say is wrong for the citizens? And again, like I said on the last podcast that we had, why is it not up to the citizens of Union County to be able to make their voices known? Why have we decided to vote to abolish the constables, which are elected officials by we the people, but then we the people aren't allowed to make the vote whether we want them or not? Why is it left up to another elected body to decide that for us? Especially it's a constitutional office. I don't understand that. And that's another problem that I have. But anyways, getting back to this agenda. So we go from this January county commission meeting, we go from an executive session where everybody was left out, had to leave, so we had no idea what was being talked about, only could assume. Excuse me. So we come back after the executive session and we're told, okay, well, y'all can come back in. Most people left. And so those of us that were still there, we come back in the room, and the agenda specifically says constable. I know you can't see it because my green screen, but it says constable discussion right there on it, right? And so we come back and there's no discussion. It's just an automatic. Sidney Jesse makes an motion to abolish the constables, and then it's seconded, and then everybody votes, and then everybody votes to abolish, and meeting's over, meeting adjourned, gone, right? There's an issue with that. That's not how Tennessee state law says a county government or any other government is supposed to work. There is a law called the Sunshine Law, got Knox County in trouble a while back, if you remember. The Sunshine Law, or the Open Meetings Act, says they're not allowed to do that. Some argue that they are. And I'm going to tell you that process. So after that meeting, a couple of days after that meeting, I filed a complaint with the state. Myself, personally, filed a complaint with the state. And I sent the agenda, a picture of the agenda, and I explained in my complaint what happened. I explained that county commission came from the executive meeting, automatically took a vote, and even though the agenda says discussion, doesn't say anything about a vote, doesn't say anything about any kind of thing like that. And I supplied them with video and all this kind of stuff. And so I received an email back from 2 different places, and I meant to pull that up, and I didn't, but I got 2 email back from, give me 1 second here, I'm trying to find it, and I'm sorry, and I apologize, I meant to have it already up here. So that is my fault. Open records. There we go. So I received an email back from the Open Records Council, and I also received a email back from the comptroller of the Treasury from the Office of the General Counsel of the state of Tennessee. And they call it TOMA, Tennessee Open Meetings Act. And if you want to look it up, Tennessee Code Annotated 844-106. And they confirmed with me both of those offices confirmed to me that Union County, again, did what they wanted to do and violated the Tennessee Open Meetings Act and violated that law. Union County is commonly known for violating Open Records Acts and Open Meetings Acts. It's common occurrence in Union County. That's how they do things. That's how you don't know what's going on a lot of the time, because they do it behind doors, or they do it in these vague terms like constable discussion, and then they just slip it on through and and get it where people don't attend the meeting, so they don't know what's going on. And that's the way they like it. That's why I keep telling you, go to the meetings, find out what's going on your own. But here's the thing. They confirmed that they violated that law, and so on and so forth, right? And so it's up to the citizens, because the way it's set up, the state won't do anything about Union County doing this. Their information back says that if I wanted to pursue it myself, I would have to hire a personal attorney and do that on my own, or a group or a committee of some sort, or whatever, they would have to do that on their own. They would have to file a lawsuit on their own on this violation. And I'm not a wealthy man. I don't have the money to, file a lawsuit on my own and that kind of thing. And so I did talk to an attorney, though. And that attorney said, absolutely, they violated. And this is an attorney that does this thing. That's basically all her career has been handling open meetings acts and all these kinds of things that get violated in another county. And so I spoke to her, told her what's been going on. And like I said, absolutely violation. We can stop it. We can do whatever. We can make them, void that vote. They can do another one if they want. All these kinds of things, all these options, right? And so, obviously there's been a violation. Union County government violated the Tennessee Open Meetings Act because they didn't actually say there was going to be a vote. They didn't give the citizens the information to know that there was going to be a vote happening, right? And they didn't, because it says discussion. That's all it says, and that kind of thing. So I then, like I said, I like to get both sides, and I like to get all the information I can. So I talked to the state. I talked to an attorney. Now it's time to talk to the county government. So I talked to Mayor Bailey. And Mayor Bailey says, nope, county commission can vote whenever they want to, on whatever they want to, bring up whatever they want, whenever they want, do what they want. That's not true. You have to be able to talk about things, and you have to let the public know what you're doing. You can't do secret stuff, and you can't do all of these things, right? You can't continue to violate the law, but they're going to continue to violate the law as long as we citizens allow them to. And why do we allow them to? Because we reelect the same ones. We don't go to the meetings. We don't make phone calls. We don't do emails. We don't do these things. We don't hold our local government accountable for what they do, unless it's just something, I don't know. Every once in a while, I will give citizens of Union County credit. Every once in a while, the citizens will band together and stand up. Every once in a while. Most of the time, in my experience doing this for the past few years, has been that they're afraid of retaliation from the government. I mean, the coalition did a petition and tried to get people to sign, and they had people that signed the petition and then demand their names be taken off because another county commissioner threatened them that they were going to make sure their property taxes got raised and this, that, and the other. And I could tell you story after story about people being threatened if they stand up to local government. That's one thing I'm not afraid to do. And I think everybody's come to terms with that I have a big mouth and I'm not afraid to use it. So here's the flip side of that, right? So, like I said, everybody knows my position on the constables. If they're working constables, it's a great thing to have. I know we got some duds out there. I know that we've got at least one person that ran for constable that was a setup from local government. I know that. And y'all can figure out who that was. But and then we've got, Plainview don't have a constable at all because nobody ran. But then we've got some good constables out there that work and do what they're supposed to. And for those of y'all don't know, the constables work for free, supply their own gas, supply their own vehicles, supply their own training, all those things. None of this is against the constables at all. So I don't want anybody to take that way. So here's where my issue is, as far as, like I said, county government stuff, violating all that. That's one thing. I'm going to go on the flip side of that. Okay. There's some folks out there that have taken my information that I've worked so hard to do, like that I have so many times in the past, and I did give all the information I found out to a constable, and told them they could do what they want with it, and that kind of thing. And I've also given that information to a couple other people. Somehow or another, that information has got back to somebody else, and they have decided to take my information once again and use it as their own. And like I said, this is the flip side, right? This is one of the things that I said that I wasn't going to discuss, but now you've made me mad, and so now I'm going to discuss it. And way back, I don't remember, sometime last year, April, May, March, somewhere around in there, I decided to step away from the coalition. Not because I didn't appreciate the people in the coalition, not because I didn't appreciate what most of us were trying to do and all that kind of thing. I stepped away because I was tired of being used. I was tired of being stabbed in the back. And so that's why those podcasts disappeared. And you know, I don't have anything against people personally or anything like that. I enjoyed the podcast. I love doing them. I love doing these. That's why I started back up and all that kind of thing. I just had to step away and separate myself, right? It got to a point where it was all about everything that I did not want to be about. I did not want to be all about money. I did not want to be taking necessary sides without actually the information needed to take sides. And then I got accused of being a traitor, and I was sticking up on Marty's side, and I was sticking up for this side. And no, those of you that know me, and I've said many, many times, has been all my life. I've lived by this philosophy, right? And that's been, if you're right, you're right, and I'll tell you you're right, and I'll fight for you. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. I'll tell you you're wrong, and now let's try to make it right. It's what I've always tried to do. And I tried to do that with county commissioners. I try to work with them. I've had meetings with Sidney Jesse many times. I've tried to work with him. And, you know, when Commissioner Brantley was still commissioner, you know, we met up, and then he finally, because he was against constables, and then after he learned the information, he supports constables. He still supports the constables. I don't know what the bad feeling is on Sidney Jesse's side as far as constables go. But if you remember last time he tried to abolish the constables, he gave everybody wrong information. He gave everybody disinformation, if you will, with a word that's so widely used now, and lied to the other county commissioners in order to abolish them last time. So you can take that with what it wants. So that moves us, like I said, I went, you know, several months without being heard from. I kind of disappeared. And then you can't see it, but there was an article done on me. If you remember, I know a lot of people don't read that newspaper, and a lot of people do. But that article was called "New Look, New Chapter: Sit Down with Jason Mills." I do appreciate Marty for doing this interview with me, because it gave me an opportunity to rethink some things, right? And so she didn't do this. Actually, I know you can't see it very well, but a company contacted me and asked me if they could do that for me. And so I want to put that out there so nobody says I'm being bribed or nothing, because I know how some people work. So anyway, so here we go. So the straw that broke the camel's back, if y'all remember, we were fighting a lot to save the constables, to stand up for what was right. My next goal was to try to get the constable some kind of a fuel allowance like they used to have, even though I wanted it to be more than, $17 or what have you. That was my next goal. And so lo and behold, all of a sudden, out of the blue, somebody receives an award for saving the constables and that kind of thing, and their work and being involved in saving the constables. And it wasn't me. And I'm not trying to be shallow or not, stomping my feet and griping, but this is what happened. And so, and then, this person is supposed to be my partner and, all this stuff, didn't even tell me about it. Didn't even mention it to me. They had a banquet and all this stuff and didn't even mention it. Not a peep. Nothing. I found out because she posted it on Facebook and pictures of her getting the award and pictures of her at the banquet and all this. Didn't even have the nerve to even tell me about it. That's how I found out about it, was because she posted it after the fact. And so I was like, all right, that's how we want to be. Then I don't need any part in that kind of environment. I don't need any part of somebody that wants to stab me in the back so easily, that is supposed to be fighting next to me, fighting with me. And so like I said, I decided at that point in time to take a step back. I decided that I didn't want any part of it anymore. And that's why I disappeared. It wasn't because, I had some personal things happen afterwards, but it wasn't necessarily anything then. My mama passed away and that kind of thing in July. And, so it took me a little while to try to figure out what I want to do next. And I thought that these podcasts were actually good for folks. They were actually informative for a lot of folks. They were a good way for me to communicate with my local community, Union County. And so, like I said, that moved on. And so I started these podcasts. This is the third or fourth one I've done. I know last week I missed because I was sick and that kind of thing. But so we move on, we move forward. And I've been asked a few times why I've not been so active this time with the constable vote. I have been, but I've done it differently. I've done it behind the scenes. I didn't let anybody know that I was filing. Nobody knew I was filing that complaint. Nobody knew that I was talking to the attorney. Nobody knew what I was doing. Because again, podcast is always on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. And if you follow the Dirt Podcast page, you'll if I cancel for some reason, I'll always post it on there. But yes, always Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. I am, for those of y'all that just came on here recently, I am on Facebook and YouTube under the Dirt Podcast, and I am on Rumble under the Dirt Podcast UC for Union County. But thank you for joining us tonight, all you folks. So anyways, so here's where kind of pushed me over the line to talk about it tonight. Okay. So I gave Constable this information and some other folks this information that I found out, with my complaint and all this kind of stuff. And so, I told them to do what they want with it. Next thing I know, the attorney that I talked to is being talked to, which is fine. You want to use her, use her. Next thing I know, a GoFundMe has popped up, and I understand you got to pay for the attorney if you're going to use it, all that kind of. I understand that, not griping about that. But next thing you know, this podcast or this GoFundMe's popped up, and my dog's running around. So I think she's getting a little silly. So this GoFundMe pops up, and they're trying to raise $1,000 to support the constables, which I'm all for. I get that. More power to them. I hope they raise it. I hope they're successful in what they're trying to do. 100%. What makes me mad is they took my information and they turn it into something that they've done, right? Which is what got me here to begin with. And then not only that, and folks, you can go look at the GoFundMe right now. Go look at it right now. And the picture that they're using on the GoFundMe page is my family. My family's holding the signs and that picture. My family. You know what that appears to me? If I was somebody on the outside looking in, it appears like, oh, Jason Mills is a part of that. Jason Mills is his family's right there. He has to be part of that. He's doing that. This must be Jason Mills GoFundMe for the constables. And I'm all for it. This is perfectly fine. Raise money. But don't make it appear like it's me when it's not. Don't use me as your pawn, because I am not your pawn. I am not somebody that you're going to use to benefit you. You got the award. You got all that. You got the banquet. You do your own research. You do your own stuff. You do that. Leave me out of it. I will do my thing. Don't use me as your little tool. The whole time before, it was always you're the figurehead of the coalition. Anytime the news would show up, it was, you have to be the one out there. You've got to give the speeches. You've got to do this. You got to do that, which I was perfectly comfortable doing because it was my passion. But then we get back into the using me as your pawn and then taking the credit for it that I have a problem with. And like I said, everybody, no credit. I'm not doing any of that. I don't do the podcast for credit. I do the podcast to benefit other folks that don't get to attend the meeting. I tell you my opinion, and most of the time I say, if you don't, it's my opinion, feel free to make it yours. And that's kind of things. I don't get paid for this. I don't go to the meetings because I get paid for it. I don't get any kind of kickbacks. I do it because it's my passion. I do it because it's what I can do in my heart to help the community. But yeah, I mean, I get where you're going as far as getting no credit. And like I said, I gave the information to some folks and I told them to do what they wanted to do with it. So I don't have a problem, like I said, with them contacting the attorney. I don't have a problem saying, hey, this was submitted to the state, and the state said yes, it was wrong, whatever. I don't have a problem with that part. I have a problem when you're trying to make it yours and then you're trying to use me as a pawn for it. That's not too kosher for me. That's not how things should work. And like I said, you go back and you get an award and a banquet in your honor for all this hard work that you did. And some of it was, but nowhere near what was portrayed and that kind of thing. But it is what it is. But that's what got me here, and I figured this was a perfect time to tell the story of why I'm not doing Tuesday Night Thunder or Friday Night Focus anymore, and those kinds of things. It's just what's right, and I try to always try to do what's right and fight for what's right, and that's why I do what I do. Let's see. Let's try to go through some of these comments. Miss Jeanette, hello. Glad to see you. There's only 2 constables active. That may be true, but that's 2 more officers we have on the street that we wouldn't have otherwise. If you want to look the cup half full instead of half empty. Said that. Have I asked for the picture to be changed? No, I have not, because I've not spoken to said person since I quit doing the podcast before. Let's see. I missed one. Let me go back. Well, it's not there no more. Somebody must have deleted it. Kind of sounds like I'm taking stabs at unsaid folks. Nope, I'm not taking stabs at all. I am just simply explaining what happened. Don't know who you are. My name's Jason Mills. I've been an activist here in Union County for several years now, and I have fought the constable abolishment when it first happened several years ago. I ran for county commission. I have fought the bullying in schools. I've fought the property tax raises, the will tax raises, because I don't believe in tax raises without good reason. I asked many times why. A perfect example, why we couldn't use the old middle school still, and why we had to build a new one. And when it all got said and done, exactly what I said was going to happen happened. So they approved. If you go back and watch the meetings from the time, they approved the new school and all that. And the very next meeting, they decided, we couldn't use this middle school before, but now all of a sudden we're going to make all these plans on what we're going to use the old middle school for. And like I said, I told everybody that's what was going to happen before they did that. So it's just things like that irk my nerves that county government does. And so I try my best to fight against it, or at least to let the community know what's going on. And so a lot of my podcasts are going to be probably local government focused, but I'm also trying to do some other things. And I'm going to get some guests on here and all those kinds of things. But I hope that answers your question. I'm not big time. I'm just a simple man that lives out here in Union County. And like I said, I've been an activist for several years now. And I've fought many battles, and I've won many battles, and I've lost a few. That's just the way it works. What do you think about the old Fred's building where they grow the I've been asked that several times. My opinion is it's a private business. As long as they're not doing anything necessarily illegal, they can continue to do business. If they start doing things that are illegal, if they start, doing things they shouldn't be doing, if they stop paying their taxes, if they stop whatever, then that might be a horse of a different color. Also, with that being said, I don't know a whole lot of information about it because I've not looked into it. So, I know there's some people that have a strong dislike for them, and then I know there's other people that are perfectly fine with them. Excuse me. Um, there's two sides to every situation, right? And I'm not trying to say one side's right and one side's wrong. And I don't even know what that is, sir. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Closest I get, for those of you who've been following me for a long time, is Dr. Pepper. But Miss Jeanette knows what it is. I don't know enough about it to give you an opinion. And those of you that have been following me also for a long time know that I don't talk a whole lot about things that I don't research and I don't get the skinny on. I've been in situations where I've been in the county buildings trying to get information and flat out been refused. I've been done open records and got bills for $1,000. I do these things out of, like I said, what I feel is right in my heart. So that's all I can say about what I do, really. I don't always fight against county commission. I don't always fight against the mayor. I just try to do what I feel is right. And some of y'all support me and some of y'all don't. That's just the way it goes. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Cram's not hemp, do research on it. And that's exactly what I said. I don't know anything about it, so I can't give you an opinion on it. Miss Jeanette said it was hemp. But I can't answer your question there because I do not know enough about it. And I hope you can respect me for that. Anyways, Monday night, next county commission meeting. For those of you that just joined me recently, make sure you get out there, make your voice heard and that kind of thing. 4 minutes. You got 4 minutes. If you want to speak, you got to sign up for the public speaking session. Let me introduce myself. I'm First Amendment auditor. Well, that's cool. I believe in the First Amendment. Those of you who live out here in the 4th district, when I ran for county commission, you heard my spiel and that kind of thing. There's a God-fearing, freedom-loving patriot out here, and I believe in the Constitution as written. I don't consider myself, I'm definitely not a Democrat, and well, I stand up for people's rights too, or I try to. Hence what this podcast is about. That's why I ran for county commission, because there was things that the citizens of this county did not deserve happening, like all the property tax increases and all that kind of stuff. When you've got, if you go back a couple podcasts ago, when I talked about the last county commission meeting, when you've got a plan and your local government currently has a plan to continue to tax you and increase taxes on you on a regular basis in order to not only build a new school, not only to build a new jail. Those are just excuses of why, to make it look pretty, why they got to raise your taxes. But in the last county commission meeting, they came up and they said, oh, well, we're going to have, I got it wrote down here somewhere. Let me go back and refresh my memory. I can't find it fast enough, but they got like going to have like $8 million in surplus, basically. After all these taxes are done, everything's paid for. They're going to have like $8 million extra. Okay, well, if you're going to have that, great. I understand it's good to have a savings account, and I get all that. I don't agree with when 23, there's different numbers, 21, 23, 26% of Union County are under the poverty level. Why do we keep increasing taxes and making people that can't afford it continue to pay for it? Why do we keep making elderly folks decide whether they're going to eat today, get their medicine today, or pay their taxes today? I don't agree with it. Union County does need a new jail. I've never said they didn't. Before many years ago, I used to be a police officer. I used to be a sheriff's deputy, not here in Union County, but in city of Knoxville and Anderson County. But I also used to be a bondsman and a fugitive recovery agent right here in Union County and Claiborne County. So I've been not inside the jail, but I've been in the jail, and I've put people in there. I've got people out of there. I have seen all that. So I've never once said that Union County did not need a jail. Never have I said that. The only thing I've asked is for county government to come up with a way to pay for it without raising taxes or without that tax increase before you looked at your budget and cut wherever you could. And I made that demand last budget, and they cut. Just off the top of my head, they cut $25 off of it or $50. It wasn't much, and it was ridiculous to me that you couldn't go through your budget and cut more than that. That's just crazy. And then we find out later that they're paying excuse me, that they're paying two different lines in the budget for the same thing. So they're double paying. And you got like I said earlier, we had up until this last budget before, we've been paying the school system an extra $500,000 a year, and nobody knew it. But guess what? Because excuse me, because of the way our Union County government is set up, once you give the school system money, you can't take it away. So the next year you got to pay them the same amount. The next year you got to pay them the same amount. And if you give them $1 more, then guess what? You can't take that money away. If you overpay them on accident, too bad, so sad. You can't take it away. That's how it's worked. That's how it works in Union County. And there's other counties like that, but in Union County, that's how it works. So we're talking about 10 or more years that we gave the school system an extra $500,000. The school system did a smart thing. They saved that money. So when the new middle school came up and they offered, hey, we've saved this much money to put down towards building a new middle school, that's where that money came from. That extra $500,000 that they kept getting every year, that's how they saved that money. Luckily, they could have spent it on anything else, but luckily they did save that to build a new school. But here's the next thing, folks, that you all need to be prepared for. They're already talking about building a new Manorville Elementary. That's going to be another tax increase. I guarantee it. They're already talking about the jail and how much it's going to cost. And again, I've never once talked about we didn't need a new jail, because I agree we need a new jail. It's all about how do we pay for it that is fair for the citizens of this county, not just because we want to raise taxes. that raising taxes should be the very last option. We should go through and figure out where that money can come from otherwise. And that's just my opinion. That's the way I look at everything. And it's what is the best way to not hurt the citizens of Union County? We've got single moms, we've got elderly folks, we got single parents, single dads, we've got young folks that are just trying to start out. You can't afford to keep paying all this money. You can't continue. Here's another thing. We've got I don't know. I've got 5 or 6 cars out there. Some of them are commercial vehicles because I own my own business and that kind of thing. But I'm not going to go pay this wheel tax on every one of them. And 83, 86, whatever dollars it is. I'm just not going to do it. And used to, I would. It's just the way things work. I know a lot of people that have multiple vehicles that refuse to pay this wheel tax, and so they just aren't driving them anymore, and that kind of thing. So that's just my opinion. Yeah, and even when Paulette is paid for, when originally it was supposed to be paid for, and oops, we didn't pay enough, so now we got an extra year we got to pay on it. Another screw up. So now Paulette's going to be paid off in September of 2026. And originally, that part of the wheel tax was supposed to go away. Well, guess what? They just fixed it. So that's not going away. So even after Paulette is paid off, it's still going to continue. And I just don't agree with it. And that's just how it works. Let's see. We got some more. I know Union County is not the best jail, and that kind of thing. Those of you keep hearing about the fires. I've seen a lot of comments talking about lighters and all that kind of stuff. They're actually taking toilet paper and sticking it in the light sockets, and that's how they're starting the fires. Just some little more information there in case you didn't know that, but they're not. They might have lighters in there too. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that that's how most of the fires are getting started is with toilet paper and the light socket. I'm not talking about that. You'll skip that one. Ann Dyer, yeah. Now she's doing the books for 911. I agree. Heard Walmart's coming. I don't know anything about that. I know Food City will fight that tooth and nail. Who is a new person going to run? I don't know exactly what you mean about or what exactly you're talking about. I can tell you how to start fires. Well, I know somebody in there, and that's how they said they've been starting fires. So I'm sure there's other ways they start fires too, but the person that gave me that information, that's what they said. All right. Anybody else got any more comments on here? Feel free to ask your questions, write your comments, and we'll do that for another couple of minutes, and then I will say good night. Miss Haley, if you want to, for mayor, or if there is one, I can speculate. I've heard several names, but I do not know for sure. I don't know 100%. I know a couple that I would like to run, but as of now, I would assume Mayor Bailey would probably try to run again. This is just speculation, so don't hold me to it. Mayor Bailey probably will. I heard Sidney Jesse is going to. I heard that Greg Dyer is talking about it. But again, that's all speculation. I don't know for sure. And I heard that the mayor of Luttrell is going to run for sheriff and then hire Billy back as a deputy. So just things you hear. Until election season comes, we won't actually know until folks start, picking up their petitions and all that. I'm new to all this that's going on around here, but I'm learning quick that what you're saying is true. An overhaul is needed. Yes, it does. That's why I ran for county commission, and that kind of I was trying to do my part to try to make things as best I could. And if you watch my last podcast, the mayor's asked several times for a member of the public to be part of some of these boards and committees, and asking for public volunteers. And I volunteered to be on 2 of those boards, and that quickly gets forgotten. Excuse me. I'm still recovering, like I said. I'm sorry for coughing. Jesse and Dyer would be another Jason. I could see that. Will you ever run again? I have kicked around the thoughts of running for a position. I'm not going to say which position. I just haven't landed on if I actually want to go through that again. I was attacked. I'll tell you the truth, folks. And those of you who've been watching the podcast, I don't know where you live at, Miss Vandergrift. I live in the 4th District, which is Big Ridge area. But, when you hear that running for or getting involved in politics is very ugly, I can attest that is very true. But I was very vocal. As soon as I heard something that wasn't true or whatever, I confronted it head on. And so those that were around, 33 Bridge, you're not in the 4th District. You're probably in the 3rd, I would guess. I'm not exactly sure where you are, but you probably most likely in the 3rd, maybe a different one. But I had so many things said about me that weren't true. I had, those of you who've been watching these podcasts, I had a county commissioner I was running against, pull out here in front of my house and taking pictures of my kids and yelling and screaming and and doing all kinds of things. And I got that on video and pictures, and I filed an ethics complaint about it. And, because it wasn't right. And all I asked for was an apology. I wasn't trying to get them in trouble or anything like that. I was simply just asking for an apology to my family for sitting out here harassing us and that kind of thing. And like I said, I had video, I had pictures, I even had her confession on, where she made a comment on my Facebook post about what happened. Even admitted to what she was doing. And I filed an ethics complaint. Go in front of the ethics committee. Again, that's just a joke. Ethics committee is a joke. And I was told I didn't have enough evidence. And so I was like, I don't know how much more evidence you could have. But, I had that. I had the same person was going around telling, as she was knocking on doors and that kind of thing, telling people I was a child rapist and I was, all this other nonsense. And so, it was just crazy. And like I said, I just had my background pulled back in December. And guess what? I'm squeaky clean. Like I said, I was a police officer for many years. I don't know, but people would believe it. And it's just crazy stuff like that. In fact, let's see. on election day at Big Ridge Elementary School, during the election, that same county commissioner, still county commissioner, had her family going in to the school, which is a big no-no, but nobody would do anything about it. And not only that, but I had a relative of the sheriff going around telling people the same lies that she was telling. Don't vote for him, he's this. Don't vote for him, he's this. And all this kind of stuff. Well, when you've got somebody in that position that comes up and says, even if I was going to vote, say I was going to vote for you, let's say I was coming to vote for you, and then this relative of the sheriff comes and says, hey, don't vote for him, he's this, this, and this. Well, you're going to say, oh, well, he's related to the sheriff. I can't vote for him now, and that's how it's been. And so I did. I lost the election. I have plenty of proof that the election. This is going to sound like Trump, but I have plenty of proof that the election was rigged and that kind of thing. But again, the way Tennessee law is, you have a very limited time to file a lawsuit to stop the election, and it costs so much money and all this. And after the election, actually election night, I had a county commissioner that I was also running against came up to me and said, I know you won. I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry. I had several other people throughout the months after the election come up to me that actually knew about different things in the election and actually told me that I actually won. They knew I won, but the fix was in, and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of craziness that goes on here in Union County, and that kind of thing. I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I'm not. The only thing I can say that I am is that I feel like I'm an American patriot, and I try to fight for the right thing, and that's just who I am and what I try to be. And I don't do all this for like credit, and necessarily I don't get on here and brag about myself. I tell things that happen. Some people take it as bragging, but I just do what I can and how I can, and that's all I can say. And like I said, most of the ones that have followed me for a long time could back me up on what I've done. So anything else? Yes, it was a very dirty election. I give you that. All righty, folks. If you don't have this little thing, wants to come play. If you don't have anything else you want to talk about, I'll say good night, and we appreciate you. And until next time, next Tuesday, 8 p.m., we'll be here. And next Monday is the county commission meeting. So on Tuesday, we will have a lot to cover and that kind of thing. So we greatly appreciate you. And with that being said, have a great night. Watch out for the snow if it happens. Be careful out there. You didn't talk about the missing $6,000. I did mention the missing $6,000 that just disappeared out of the drug fund. I did that. I don't think you were on here yet. I was talking about the live PD episode or whatever it's called nowadays. But I did talk about the missing $6,000 or $60,000 and how Union County is just a laughing stock to a lot of folks. But anyways, y'all want me to say make Union County great again. I still think Union County is great. But it's a great community. It's a beautiful place to live, especially, I live out here Big Ridge. It's beautiful. I just don't care for a lot of, how Union County government's run. And I think the people of Union County deserve better. They should demand better. And unless we all stick together and fight for better, we'll never get it. And it'll continue to be the good old boy system that it is. It'll continue to be the same powers that be run the county, and everybody else just has to go along with what they want. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. I've said it many, many times. The government officials in Union County need to be reminded that they work for us, that we don't bow down to them. And I've said that 100 times, and I will say that one more time. Union County government officials need to understand 100% that they work for us. We do not bow down to them. And that's just how I feel. And I think they lost sight of that a lot of times. But anyways, make Union County great again. Let's all do that together. I said it again for you. With that being said, thank you for joining me. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m. We'll be here. Facebook, YouTube, The Dirt Podcast, Rumble, The Dirt Podcast UC. Thank you. Good night. Remember, pray for me. I'll pray for you. And God bless. We'll see you later.
You just heard The Dirt, digging to the bottom of every situation to get the truth with your host, Jason Mills. Tune in next week at the same time for another Dirt broadcast.